done YouTube videos 400 plus. I'm coming for your fame, Chris. I'm coming after you. Just so
Get
you
it.
know.
Be about that life.
Yes, I'm coming for your fame. I want your fame, Chris. I love you. So I did a piece here a few months ago. It's called Hella Famous. Me and my girl Boss Lady, one of my fellow poets, many months ago, we went to our first slam in Berkeley, and we were trying to hype each other up, saying like, until we get hella famous. So that's how Hella Famous came about. Whenever people get up on stage and give you love, you're hella famous, because you have to believe you're hella famous. So it kind of has grown into this thing that's kind of like bigger than me and her. It's kind of taking on a life of its own. So this is like the other Hella Famous is a lot about pop culture. It's about how I think we have this kind of cultural ADD meets ADHD. There's just too much information. There's Twitter and there's YouTube, and you don't have to be dope anymore. Just information all the time. Oh my God, I can't handle it. And so that's the first Hella Famous piece, and this is the second Hella Famous piece. It's called Capitalists for Consciousness, Hella Famous Part 2. I've been a community activist for like 10 years. I meet a lot of super dope people. I meet a lot of people that are hella fake. I mean, a lot of people I feel like are capitalists for consciousness, meaning like, you know, capitalists, people who want to like make money, right? It's about business. But I feel like a lot of activists in a way are like trying to be capitalists for things that are conscious, for things that are deep, for things that are like poetic or whatever, and they're not really changing the community. They might just be in it kind of like for looks. So Hella Famous Part 2 is going to kind of examine that perspective of what it means to be hella famous out there, whether it's because you too much information, I can't handle it, or because people may be acting a little fake. And again, shout out my girl Boss Lady, because Hella Famous, that was our thing that we created together. Hip-hop diagnosed me with a complex ADD, always demanding dopeness. See, I'm watching fame chasing schizophrenics, while equations progressive academics or leather academics developed horribly these aesthetics. A collective ADHD, you don't speak for me, like after dopeness has died. With fame, I'm sitting the diagnosis worldwide. I'm over impractical, ineffective activists, friendly like they're not undercover capitalists for consciousness. Can handle, I'm far from anonymous. I became hella famous as an unintended consequence of living courageous. Starts with the consistency of my appearance. I'm inside out living lyrics. I once showed all characteristics of the lost girl's renaissance. It was deeper than nonchalance. I used to press my eyes against the glass, feeling surpassed inside out, outside in my window. You couldn't hear me though. I feel like a whisper reflection of yesteryear because my soul was tinted. My eyes were clear. Young and dumb was never made for me. Growing up, I was blinded by reality. Using the act as a capitalist for consciousness. I was captivated by the conflicts of interest of fame and consciousness. A wrinkle in time where I balanced lines. Y'all wanted to pretend and I couldn't comprehend everything that made me the other would transcend. Never thought I'd demand. Don't you know who I am? If you haven't heard, you better ask somebody. I'm hella famous because I'm the illest social worker that never got a master's, but you know me, I still matter. Streets have always had a way of calling isolation to educational institutions, and they question my sense of belonging. Institutions that educate streets for profit, ignoring my contributions. They've already seen me prove it. Your approval is not why I do this. Trick me into doubting my own fame because we don't feel the same, because my fame is all about intersections and multiple levels of ownership, not leadership styles that fail to inspire. Identify them as capitalists for consciousness. They think they're hella famous, changing the world. They don't know how to do this. They're all just carbon copies of talk that's not slick, that doesn't turn out bodies. Even that supposedly flip scripts because the communities are living in Nicky Parker and the professor relationship. It's not fame, it's all this politics because young and dumb was never made for me. Growing up, I was blinded by reality. Using the act as a capitalist for consciousness, I was captivated by the conflicts and interests of fame and consciousness. A wrinkle in time where I balanced lines and I wanted to pretend and I couldn't comprehend everything that made me the other would transcend. Never thought I'd demand. Don't y'all know who I am? If you haven't heard, you better ask somebody. I'm hella famous. I relearned to let microphones illuminate me. Not everything you can't see is everything you can't help but see. Like Mulan, there's anxiety about the reflection I see. Like who's that girl staring back at me? Cause I grew from the brilliant knowing into a microphone feed who can guarantee my fame is not about me. I'm here to be about it, not to speak about it. I don't struggle with consciousness to prove I'm legitimate. To undercover capitalists for consciousness, they'd rather talk that overeducated-ish. I'd rather be out with the people negotiating what's real. My life's an example that reveals all your fears are years behind me because of the afterthoughts I've already survived already. Preoccupied like I don't want to be a capitalist for consciousness. I'm hiding from consciousness because of my relationship with being hella famous. Too much information to process, so I don't know how to process what I can't process. I can't process what I'm supposed to process. I just want to breathe in progress and exhale, always demanding dopeness to counter the mess. After dopeness has died, but nevertheless I struggle with peer pressure. Go harder or go home was not an adventure. I got harder. Couldn't surrender to go home and revitalize when you realize nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Feeling like nobody knows it but me. Step back and can't believe. Feels like you've been mixed up in mist that don't end like fairy tales that don't exist. So now there's spaces and places to live for completely different reasons. reasons, based on influential decisions. I don't know. I just change, evolve from right now to tomorrow. Looking back when I was 18, I wrote, I survived, escaped the box that locks, kills, possibility. Tried to lock me from me. I was got lost in classifications, couldn't find me that fascinates. There was also a little voice in me that tried to anticipate how young and dumb was never meant for me. Growing up, I was blinded by reality, using to act as a catalyst for consciousness. I was captivated by the conflicts and interests of fame and consciousness. A regular time where I balanced lines, y'all wanted to pretend, and I couldn't comprehend everything that made me the other would transcend because of stories I can demand. Don't you know who I am? If you haven't heard, you better ask somebody. I'm hella famous.
Cause you about that life.